Hi there, I'm Nu-Trix, and today I want to talk about the future-proofing of your music production. Now, this becomes important today because we know about the native instrument protection against insolvability. The fact that they're basically are getting legally protected against being shut down while they restructured, which is something that happened with a lot of companies in the past. You might not remember, but Oberheim at one point had difficulty. Moog disappeared. Moog was not existing for years because it went bankrupt. A single circuit did not exist for years. It went bankrupt. I don't know if you remember Upcode. Does not exist anymore. It was almost going to disappear, got bought by Gibson, and basically got absorbed and went away. So it's not something that does not happen. But my real question today is how future-proof is your production? Of course, it becomes important today because of the native instrument status. What will happen? I don't know. I'm guessing that they will fix it or they will sell it. And it will keep, because it has its value. People want to have it. So what they have will be in somebody's hand at one point. I'm guessing it will happen. So I'm not expecting it to close down and just disappear. In the worst case scenario, somebody else is going to buy the assets and we're going to see this being transported to somebody else's brand. That's the worst case scenario in my view. I might be wrong, but that's how I see it. Still, it opens up the door to how future-proof is your production. I've been thinking about this because I am working on songs that I started almost 30 years ago. I was making music in the 90s, and I have songs from, 94 to 2007 that I never finished, and they're on different format. I have them on Reason. I have them on Digital Performer, but the early version of Digital Performer, like Digital Performer 3, now they had Digital Performer 11. The question is, at one point, whatever you work on, the tools you're using, will they stop working? Will the company making them just stop existing? Will the software that you used to have they will stop supporting it? They will move to something else. This happens all the time. Not right away, but you have your song in an old software, in an old computer, and now it does not work anymore. I have a friend who has all the different computers he bought over the years for making music. He has all of them with the hard drive and the audio interfaces, because if he needs to reboot and load a song he made for an album 20 years ago, he has the software, he has the hardware, at least to play back the MIDI file. Worst case scenario, he's going to pick new sounds, but he's going to have this. It still have the main song structured, be able to play. That's the question, is how are you preparing for future-proofing your stuff? I found that I was coming out of school learning that you have to future-proof your stuff. So I did export my files over MIDI files, so it could run on anything. I exported audio files of my tracks when I could, and I also saved all the banks of the internal presets of the different hardware devices that I had at the time. Most of the plugins I had in, 2001 don't exist anymore. They've been more than 20 years. They just don't exist. It's not that bad, but today, if I had to redo a song, at least if I have the MIDI file, I can then assign to new sounds, and I can make a 2026 version of it and bring it further. It brings back the question to, how do I future-proof what I have today? I have work-in-progress song in different software. Live, Reason, ZenBeats, Gadget on my iPad, and internally in different devices. There's no one solution. And for all the years I've been making music, one thing that is clear is that the tools you're using at one point, software-wise, the software you're using at one point will stop working. Hardware, it can, but most time you can repair them and they'll play again, unless it's totally broken. But if you take well care of your equipment, you'll have them for years and years and years and years. I've got rack mount synthesizers here that are 30 years old, and they still work. They still make music. That's one of the reasons why I prefer to have hardware stuff, because on the long run, even if the companies stop existing, I still have a piece of hardware that works. Yeah, I bought a Poly and Play Plus last week. It's a hardware. One thing that I love about this is that it's self-contained. We buy it for what it can do now. And USB-wise, you connect to USB, it's all without drivers. So it will appear as a MIDI interface. It will appear as an audio interface. It's just, it just works. And that's what I want for hardware because it's future-proof. That's the type of approach I like about future-proofing the gear. Hardware, it's something we can do. We can look at and pick stuff that will live on further than just today. Software, I don't see it. I don't see how. Even today, we're moving more into subscription mode, which is not good or bad. It's just, I understand the company needs to get paid to be able to survive. If you think about buying the update every time it's released, usually the subscription equals about the same amount if you count it well. Most of the time, that's what it does. But that's the question is how? No. Basically, there's no question at that point, is prepare yourself for the day that your software will not exist anymore or will not work anymore on the device that you have. The day you switch computer and half of your software are not supported because they don't make them anymore. That's the reality of things. And you're going to make a choice of, okay, I'll get rid of these and I'll replace them with those. And that's it. So back up your stuff with, export your audio track separately without effects, export them with effects, export the track, the mix, and export the MIDI file. And actually, I'm going to have to dive into the notion, is there a DAW universal format that you export into one mode? And it's not maybe universal, but I remember there was a format for post-production that you could exchange between different software. I'm going to have to look back into that. If you have another way or tips on how to back up your stuff or, future-proof your file so that even the work in progress, you could revisit it in 10 years. Because I work on songs and then I put it aside because I don't like the finished product yet. But when I come back to it, maybe in 5 years, I listen to the song and go, well, the intro was cool, or that riff is super nice. I want to reuse that. Well, if I've got access to the file, I can just go faster. That's it. Any points on this? Any suggestion? Put them below. Like always, stay safe, make more music, and see you soon. Cheers.